Hey, badass business owners, if you have people or you're thinking about hiring some people, then you're not going to want to miss today's episode. I had some great conversation this week with multiple people in regards to their team, and it's just such good stuff that instead of breaking it out over 2 episodes, I want to cover both topics in today's episode. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to do them a little bit out of order. The first thing I want to talk about is training your team. One of the challenges that I see all the time is that business owners are afraid to train their team to be really good. And especially if you've got that one superstar that's on your team, it's like you're so excited because you got them. And then the first year that you have them, you're just like, oh my gosh, I feel so blessed. I have them on my team. They're fantastic. They're doing great. But they continue to want to learn more and they want to gain more knowledge. But here is where the problem tends to set in is a lot of times business owners are afraid to train their best people out of a fear that they're going to leave them and start their own business. Or why should I put all this time and energy into them when they're just going to leave? The first thing I need you to do is I need you to get that worry out of your head. Is it a possibility? Absolutely. Is there plenty of business in town for both of you? Yes. First off, it's not the end of your business if they do leave. But here's the thing. You have a duty to be the best trainer that you can possibly be for the people that work for you. And in some cases, that's going to cause some of your best people to leave. It is no different than if you worked on someone else's team and you were a superstar, which is why you're a business owner, and more than likely, you may have left yourself from somebody else. Now, they may not have been a great trainer and you may have had to learn it all on your own, but you were destined to leave anyways because what you were going to go achieve in your life. Now, going out on your own is not for everybody, so it might be a false fear that you're putting out there. Don't you want the best trained team that you can? Don't you want a great second-hand person or third that can be as good as you are on a lot of different things? Well, of course you do. But that fear of, they're going to leave me and they're going to take all my secrets with me, that is something you need to not worry about. Some people will go, I think I should do a non-compete cause. Yeah, some people do those. That's cool. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, what is it you don't want them competing with? You don't want them to go out there and say, well, they're not going to do exactly what it is that you do. What you really care about is they don't take your customers and your clients. And if you say, you can't do it in this town, they'll go another town over or whatever the case may be. And then you got to ask yourself, would you stay if somebody asked you never to go do that? And more than likely, they probably asked you before you even were thinking about it. If anything, you kind of planted a seed in their head about doing it. Now, I'm not saying I'm anti-complete causes. I absolutely think that if you want to do it and you think it's the right thing, especially because of how specialized your business is, then that makes a little bit more sense. If you're in a business that isn't really specialized and it's something that there are a bunch of you that do it, but just not necessarily like you do it, then you have to ask yourself, why should you prevent them from going off, becoming their own handyman, their own electrician, their own plumber, their own landscaper, their own pool person, their own whatever it is that you do. If there's no harm, no foul, then don't get too hung up on these non-compete clauses. But if you're one of the only people in a 50-mile radius that does a specific thing, that's a totally different thing. Now, if you want to protect your customers and your clients, if they can't touch any of your current clients for X amount of years or approach them, go for it. That makes total sense. That's a completely different thing that you're doing with them. My goal of this particular podcast is just to communicate to you to not get hung up on your good people always leaving you, because that's going to lead to our topic number 2 here in a second. What I really want you to do is I want you to have the best team possible. I want you to train them. I want you to invest in them and not get hung up on where they may or may not go. If anything, wear it as a badge of honor, because if somebody leaves your team and goes off and creates a great business, then that means you're a great trainer, a great developer. And I used to see this in corporate America all the time. People would hold people back because they were afraid they were going to come take their job, as opposed to saying, hey, if I can create as many people to be equal with me in other stores and do exactly what I do, then I'm going to sit there like a proud parent because all these children belong to me. You need to change the way that you look at it and see it more as a badge of honor. And by the way, when a person is a superstar on your team, and whether you have them for 6 months or 6 years, does that not benefit your business? Keep in mind that you want them to be trained, because no matter how long you have them, your business benefits from that experience and from that skill set that that person brings. And it's really important that you always focus on the fact of, how does this benefit my business? How does it make my business better? And because we both know that being an entrepreneur is not for everybody, even if they do leave, you need to make sure they leave on good terms. Why do you want that? Because when they get out there and they realize the harsh realities of running a business, that it's not as much fun as they thought it was going to be, you want to provide them a home to come back to. Matter of fact, when they're on their way out, you shake their hand and you wish them the best of luck and you say, hey, if for any reason it doesn't work out, I will always be here. You come back and you see me first. Because the last thing you want to have happen is the fact that you guys leave on bad terms. They go out, they try it for 9-10 months, find out that it's not for them, the business fails, and then they're at your competitor because you didn't leave that door open for them to be able to come back home. You need to make sure that you leave on good terms. And more than likely, if you leave on good terms, they're less likely to try to screw you over when they do leave. So don't let your emotions and you're getting mad get all wrapped up into this, okay? Yes, it is a difficult hiring period. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But that doesn't mean that you burn bridges with the good people that are working for you today and you don't continue to train and develop your team. Please, whatever you do, you need the best team you can possibly have, whether that's one person or it's 20 people. You need to make sure that you're focused on them becoming the best at what it is that they do. Don't worry about tomorrow. Hell, when I ran my ice cream shop, trust me, I lost all 3 of my shift leaders within a week of each other, and all for good reasons. They all had a great reason for leaving, and it killed me. I worked so many hours after that until I could find and replace them in those positions. I mean, I was working 7 days a week, some long ass hours, but I was proud of all 3 of them, and I still am in touch with them now, years and years later, as they become great men and women being successful at what it is that they do. And to know that I helped mold them, that was great. And I still look back at some people that I worked with at Home Depot with the exact same sense of pride as they grew in their business. And they took on their departments, their stores, their districts, everything else. There's a sense of pride that you were part of that journey. So please make sure that you always invest in your people. Now that leads me to topic number 2. And I thought about putting this as its own episode because I really think it's an important one for people to hear. And I still might. So don't rule that out. One of the things we talk about all the time is finding your ideal customer. Well, I want you to start thinking about your ideal employee. Now, we already talked about the fact that we want to keep these superstars, but I want you to start thinking about these ideal employees as well. One of the challenges that you have is finding people right now, and I get it. And you're throwing everything you can at the wall to see what sticks. You're trying Facebook, you're talking local community, you're talking Indeed, you're talking all these different ways of trying to find people because they're just not out there. Here's the first problem that I see. In most cases, most small business owners cannot tell me what type of employee they are looking for. All they're saying is they need people, they need people, they need people. Well, here's the problem. If you just hire anybody, you're going to continue the cycle of hiring people because you're not finding the right employee in the first place. And if you also don't understand who that right employee is, how do you know how to go find them? Because if you don't know where that ideal employee is, how do you even know where to go advertise, to go talk to go recruit from? For most people, when they're looking for skilled laborers or people that are doing grunt work, if you will, and I'm not putting that down, I'm just saying, are they really looking at their Indeed account every single day to find a job? No, they're out there working already for somebody else. What are they looking at every single day, or at least on a regular basis, that you at least have a shot in hell of getting in front of them? You know, are they on Facebook? Are they on social media at all? They may not be. You may have to put out a campaign that goes into your local community who knows a guy who knows the person you're exactly looking for. You have to ask yourself, where is the person at that I'm looking for in the first place? Because yes, you can sit there and you can go on Indeed and you're going to get a lot of people that don't want to get their hands dirty. They don't want to be getting up at the crack of dawn. They don't want to be doing those things. Well, what did you expect to get when you were on that platform looking for the type of employee that you were trying to find? Indeed is a fantastic place. There's a lot of great ways to find employees, but there's a big difference between somebody who works with their hands, getting in dirt every single day, versus somebody who is in an office type environment that is customer servicing and calling people. Totally different people. What I need you to do is I need you to think about the person you're trying to hire. Who is the person? What is special about them, and how can you reach out to them? How can you find them? Where are they? And it might be something as silly as going to the local park where there's all kinds of games going on, and baseball games and lacrosse games or whatever, soccer games and whatever going on. And you just hang out in the parking lot and you're looking and telling people what it is that you do, and if anybody happens to know anybody that would love to have a job. Maybe that's where your ideal person is. I don't know, but I need you to stop and ask yourself, where are they today? Now, something to keep in mind for both of these is when people leave you or people don't work out, it's usually going to be a couple things. One, we hired the wrong person in the first place, which is why we're having this conversation right now. And if you hire the wrong person in the first place, they're bound to leave you. It's a matter of time. Yes, once in a while you'll luck out, but for the most part, they're not going to last long because you didn't hire the right person in the first place. Now, when you do have the right person and they're sticking around and you're all worried about them going to leave, people leave their job for a couple of reasons. A lot of times people think, oh, it's because I'm not paying enough. It has nothing to do with pay. Now, I'm not going to take that back. Sometimes it has to do with pay, especially if you're a cheapskate and you're not paying them fair wage. But most cases, people leave because they don't feel heard and they don't feel appreciated. Now, that doesn't mean you're giving them pizza every single Friday. It means when they come to you with a question or they have a thought that you take the time to listen to them, because in most cases, they're trying to make the job better and try to help make a process better or something like that. They just want to feel like they're part of the process and that they're being heard. But you also have to make sure that you have accountability and they know exactly what it is that you want to get done. If you don't hold them accountable and you don't set clear expectations, no wonder why they're not doing what it is that they should be doing. So when people are leaving, you've got to find out, why are they leaving you? Is it your fault because you hired the wrong person? Is it your fault because you didn't train them and give them the tools and resources to be able to improve? Is it your fault because you didn't listen? But even when you do everything right and you give them all the training and you hire the right person and you develop them, they're still going to leave. But a lot of times those people are leaving for good reasons, not for bad reasons, not because of anything you did wrong, but because of everything you did right. That's why you want to have turnover. You want good turnover because people are going on to achieve great things, not because of poor things that you're doing within your business. Now, I know I'm talking about a lot of different things today, but the reason that I'm doing this is because I really want you to be in tune with your people. And when you're in tune with your people and you know exactly who it is that you want, and you're in tune with what their needs are, and you're in tune with giving them what they need to be successful, your business is more successful. Listen, folks, you can only do so much by yourself. That's the whole reason why you hired people in the first place, because you were able to get your business to a certain level. And then when you wanted to grow and expand your business, you needed people in order to be able to do that. They are a necessary evil to achieve the goals that you have. The question becomes, these are now part of your assets. You need to look at your employees as part of something positive in your business. They are, if you want to look at it from a weird angle, okay, I'm not calling them pieces of equipment, but they function just like that. You are looking for a return on your investment. Just like you buy a truck in order for you to extend your business, or you buy a certain piece of equipment to expand your business, you do the same thing with your people. The problem is so many of you try to treat your people just like you would your truck or your equipment, and you can't do that. They're people, all right? They have feelings, they have desires, they have dreams. They need to be trained and shown what to do. They need to be given the tools and resources to be successful. They need to be given the expectations of what they are being held accountable to. Yes, it's difficult in today's market because they can go get a job anywhere that they want. But what you're trying to do is to create an environment where they don't want to go somewhere else. And if they're going to leave you, they're going to leave you. And you cannot run in fear. And here's the thing, some of you hold on to crappy people way too long. And that brings us to another critical point, which is you need to always be hiring. And for some reason, we get into this mindset that I can only hire when I need somebody. Well, if you think about it, by the time you lose somebody to the time you find somebody, there is a big gap where there's nobody. Which one is worse, having the big gap of weeks on end with nobody doing the job, or the fact that you're carrying an extra payroll for a couple of extra weeks just in case? But if you find the ideal person and that perfect person, you need to hire them. I don't care that it's going to put your payroll up a little bit higher, because what you need to do then is go find out who are your poor people that are performing on your team, and either their butts need to step up. And by the way, if they step up and you bring in a superstar, your sales should go up because they're producing better quality and they're helping more customers, and your sales should go up. Because really, every time you hire someone, that's really what should be happening. But if you hire someone really good and you've got poor performers on your team, you need to go to those poor performers and just tell them flat out, look, here's the deal. I need you to do X, Y, or Z if you want to stick around. Yes, they can leave you tomorrow. Yes, they can go let them be somebody else's problem. You keep hiring great people. You need to hold those accountable that are not performing the way they should. And when you bring on someone really good, a lot of times they will bring up the performance of everybody else around them. And if they don't, and those other people don't start performing better, then that tells you right there they need to go. Okay, because they're not inspired. They're not even inspired by you, and they're not inspired by somebody coming in who could easily replace them in their job. And sometimes if somebody's been with you for a really long time, they are the worst. I will bet you some of you that are listening right now, your worst employee has been with you the longest amount of time. And it probably was because you guys were friends. They were there from the beginning. You want to be really nice to them. You feel sorry for them. You know their family. You know their kids. You don't want to make them jobless. There's some emotional thing that's getting in the way of the fact that they probably should not be with you. You need to always be hiring. You need to always be looking for good people. You need to always be training. I hate to tell you this. The minute you took on employees, you started wearing another hat, and that is your human resources hat. And that means that you are all about training and developing. And I promise you, it will pay off because you need those other people in order to free up your time in order for you to work on the business in the direction that the business is going. But I can hear some of you now, Tammy, you don't understand. Ever since I hired all these people, all I seem to do is deal with employee problems. Yeah, that's going to be part of it. That is going to be part of it. So if you don't start changing the way you do some of it, it's going to only get worse. But I promise you, your employee problems will go down if you hire the right people, if you train them to be really good, and you take really good care of them. Guess what? A lot of those employee problems go away. And if you don't believe me, sit down and just make a list of all of the things that drive you nuts about having employees, and then ask yourself how many of them are self-inflicted wounds, that you're causing the problem as to why they are the way that they are. Here's some of the takeaways that I really want you to get from today's episode. And that is the fact that if you have employees, you need to always be hiring, always be looking for new people. Because when you're looking for people at all times, you're less likely to choose somebody who just fogs up a mirror. You're more likely to find that ideal employee that comes into your business. But in order for you to find the ideal employee, you need to really understand what they look like and who they are. Just like you need to understand who your ideal customer is, you need to understand who your ideal employee is. And if you're always looking, this means that when you go to other businesses, when you're out and about, you're going to be able to identify them, and you can hand them a card that says something like, hey, if you're unhappy, come see me. You're going to know who the unhappy players are that are superstars on your competitors' teams. So this way you can kind of just plant a seed. Maybe they won't come today, but when they are ready to make that leap, they can come to you. There's a lot of things you can do when you're always hiring, when you're always looking for good people. When you're out and about in the wild, you're going to start trying to grab them versus waiting for them to come to you. Because the days of people just coming to you for a job, the people that are showing up on your doorstep that are giving you a call, typically are not the best people because they can get jobs so easily. You need to go out and find the good people, but you need to know what you're looking for in the first place. Not everybody's good at stuff. There are some people that are fantastic, wonderful. I call them, they'll freight throwers. They'll move inventory. They'll work hard. They'll bust their butt. They'll work with their hands, but they make lousy customer service people. And there's great customer service people that are lousy if they had to get down and dirty. You have to understand what it is that you're looking for. That just because someone's a great employee at one business doesn't mean they're going to be great at what it is that you do. You have to try to find that ideal person in what you're looking for. And the second thing is you cannot be afraid to train them and develop them and to make them even better. All right. You cannot run your business in fear. You cannot always worry that people are going to leave you if you hold them accountable. They're going to leave me if I train them. Think about that. You're worried that if you hold them accountable, they're going to leave, and you're worried about if you train them, they're going to leave. Oh my gosh. All you're doing is just feeding into this horrible work environment where people aren't trained with what it is that they do, and people can do whatever they want to do because you're not holding them accountable. And then you wonder why you're spending so much of your time dealing with employee problems. It's self-inflicted. I'm telling you, majority of employee problems are self-inflicted because we don't want to deal with something. We don't want to have to take care of something that has to do with the employees. And I get it. Having employees is not for everybody, in which case you need to figure out how you can be the best one-person company that you can possibly be, or maybe you just have one employee and you guys see how great you can make that company be with that type of situation. But for most of you, you need your employees. Now, I know we covered a lot of different things in today's episode. My wish here is that something grabs you, something grabs a hold, and you start looking at your employees differently than what you have been in the past. And I know it's a difficult time right now to find people, and you're really worried about losing the people that you do have. And I get it. And it's probably going to be like this for a little while. Things ebb and flow, but you always need to treat your business like you are today. You need to always be looking for good people. You need to always be training the best people. And if you do that 24/7 in your business, and that's just the way you run your business, it doesn't matter what type of market it is out there, you're going to get people that want to come work for you because you build a reputation in the community, and that's where people want to work. Ask yourself, what is it that you want your business to look like? Ask yourself, what type of employees do you want to have working for you? Ask yourself, where are those people today and how do you get them? And then ask yourself, how do you keep them? What do you have to do? All right, I'm going to wrap this puppy up. I'm going to end it, and I wish you guys the best out there. I know it's a tough market, and I know for some of you guys, you're having the best years ever, but for some of you, it's still kind of a struggle, and I know for some of you, you're still having a great year, and you're struggling with your people. I promise you, if you just have to keep that as one of those things right in front of you, because it's just what you do now. It is part of who you are when your business grows, is you have to lead these people, and you need to become the best leader that you can possibly become. And it's going to help your business. All right. It's going to help you stand up. Now with that, I'm going to go ahead and end. I know I've said that about 8 times. I really mean it this time. All right. I'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye for now. Hey, badass business owner, before you go, as you know, I'm a huge believer in you knowing your business numbers. After all, it isn't about how much you sell. It's about what you keep. And the best way to grow your profits is to start diving in and understanding those business numbers. To help you on this journey, I have created the Know Your Business Numbers course. We will walk through how to read your profit and loss statement. You'll learn the key calculations that'll help ensure that you're making a healthy profit on all of your products or services, plus a ton of other good stuff that'll help you learn how to use those business numbers to create even more sales and profits. Just check out the link below in the show notes or visit knowyourbusinessnumberscourse.com. So if you're ready to increase those profits, it's time you start diving into your business numbers.